Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever dreamed of growing your own fresh vegetables and beautiful flowers all year long, no matter what the weather is doing outside? What if I told you that you don't need a huge budget or a sprawling garden to make that happen? Today, I'm going to show you how to build your very own greenhouse using simple recycled materials that you might even have lying around the house right now. It's a fun, sustainable, and super rewarding project. So, if you're ready to get your hands dirty and create a little green paradise, stick around. First things first, let's talk about what you'll need. The star of our show is recycled plastic bottles. Lots of them. Aim for around 100 to 150 2-liter bottles. Make sure they're all the same size and shape. This is really important for a stable structure. You'll also need some wood for the frame. You can use reclaimed wood from old pallets, leftover lumber from another project, or just some basic 2x2s from the hardware store. We'll need about 8 pieces for the main frame. For fasteners, grab some screws, nails, and maybe some zip ties. Finally, you'll need some basic tools: a saw, a drill, a measuring tape, a utility knife, and a good pair of gloves for safety. That's it. No fancy equipment needed. Now for the prep work, which will make the whole building process much smoother. Start with your bottles. You need to wash them thoroughly inside and out and let them dry completely. Once they're clean, carefully use your utility knife to cut the bottom off each bottle. Be very careful with this step. We're going to stack these bottles to create our greenhouse walls. Next, prepare your wood. Measure and cut your lumber to the desired size of your greenhouse. A simple box frame is a great starting point. For a small starter greenhouse, you could make a frame that's about 4 feet wide, 6 feet long, and 5 feet high. Remember the old saying, measure twice, cut once. It really pays off to be precise here. Alright, with all our materials prepped, it's time for the fun part, the assembly. Let's start with the wooden frame. You're going to build 2 identical rectangular frames for the front and back, and then connect them with your remaining wood pieces to form a box. Use your drill and screws to connect the corners securely. You want this frame to be sturdy, as it's the skeleton of your greenhouse. If you want a sloped roof for better rain runoff, you can make the front frame slightly shorter than the back one. Once your main frame is built and standing, give it a little shake to make sure it's solid. Now, let's create the walls with our plastic bottles. This is where the magic happens. Take one bottle with the bottom cut off and slide another bottle into it. You're basically creating long tubes, or bottle logs. Keep adding bottles until you have a column that matches the height of your frame. You can secure them with a little bit of strong glue, or even a couple of well-placed zip ties if they feel loose. Create enough of these bottle columns to fill in all the sides of your greenhouse. This process can be a bit repetitive, so feel free to put on some music. It's really satisfying to see the walls come together. Once you have all your bottle columns ready, it's time to attach them to the wooden frame. You can do this in a few ways. One of the easiest methods is to drill small holes through the bottles at the top and bottom of each column, and then use wire or strong zip ties to attach them securely to the top and bottom beams of your frame. Make sure they are packed tightly together to minimize gaps and maximize insulation. For the roof, you can continue with the bottle columns or use a different material like a clear, corrugated plastic sheet for better light and waterproofing. If you stick with bottles, make sure to seal any potential gaps at the peak of the roof to keep the rain out. Now that the main structure is complete, let's talk about some extra tips to make your greenhouse even better. First, ventilation is key. Your plants need fresh air. You can create a simple vent by making one of your wall panels removable, or by building a small hinged window into the design. Second, think about location. Place your greenhouse in a spot that gets at least 6 hours of direct sunlight per day. South facing is ideal in the northern hemisphere. To really boost its insulating power, you can even caulk the small gaps between the bottles. And don't forget to create a simple door. You can build a small wooden frame and cover it with bottles, just like the walls, and attach it with hinges. Every DIY project has its learning moments, so let's cover a few common mistakes to avoid. First, don't use different sized bottles. It will make your walls uneven and unstable. Consistency is your friend here. Second, don't skip the cleaning step. Dirty bottles will block sunlight and can even promote mold growth. Third, make sure your frame is strong and level. A weak frame could collapse under the weight of the bottles or in strong winds. Take your time to build a solid foundation. And finally, don't forget about securing your greenhouse to the ground, especially if you live in a windy area. You can use stakes or anchor it to a heavier base. So, there you have it. A beautiful, functional, and eco-friendly greenhouse built from materials that might have otherwise ended up in a landfill. Let's do a quick recap. We gathered our recycled bottles and wood. We carefully prepped them by cleaning and cutting. We built a sturdy wooden frame, and then we created the walls and roof by stacking the bottles into columns and attaching them. We also talked about adding ventilation, choosing the right location, and avoiding some common pitfalls. You've just learned how to extend your growing season and create the perfect environment for your plants to thrive. You've turned trash into treasure. Thank you so much for joining me on this awesome DIY journey today. I hope you're inspired to build your own recycled greenhouse. If you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I would absolutely love to see your creations. So please share photos of your finished greenhouses in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on our next project. Thanks again for watching, and happy building!